Your job is about to disappear, not in 10 years, not in 5 years, right now, this year, this month, maybe this week. I am not saying this to scare you. I am saying this because I have seen the data. I have talked to the CEOs. I have sat in the rooms where these decisions are being made. And what I am about to tell you is something that Wall Street does not want you to know, something that corporate America is hiding from its employees, something that could destroy the middle class as we know it. 30 years ago, we told factory workers not to worry. We said globalization would create new jobs, better jobs. We said the economy would adapt. We said trust the system. We were wrong. Millions of families were devastated. Entire communities collapsed. The American dream died for an entire generation of working class people. And now the same thing is about to happen again. But this time, it is not coming for factory workers. It is coming for you, the college-educated professional, the office worker, the white-collar employee who thought a degree would protect them, lawyers, accountants, financial analysts, journalists, translators, data scientists, marketing managers, human resources professionals, software developers, radiologists, paralegals, insurance underwriters. All of you are in the crosshairs. I manage $12 trillion. That is more money than the entire economy of every country on earth except two. I've been in finance for over 40 years. I have seen every crisis, every bubble, every transformation, the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID. I have navigated all of them. But I have never seen anything like what is coming now. Last week, I stood on a stage in Davos, Switzerland, the World Economic Forum. 84 world leaders were in that room, 800 CEOs, the most powerful people on the planet. And I looked them in the eyes and I told them the truth. I said, if artificial intelligence does to white-collar workers what globalization did to blue-collar workers, we need to confront that directly. The room went silent because everyone in that room knows what happened to blue-collar workers. They know about the factory closings, the ghost towns, the opioid epidemic, the deaths of despair, the collapse of the American middle class. They know because many of them profited from it. Many of them made decisions that accelerated it. Many of them told the public not to worry while they moved jobs overseas and pocketed the savings. And now they are about to do the same thing to white-collar workers. Let me tell you exactly what is happening, because the media is not telling you the full story, and your employer is definitely not telling you. Right now, in boardrooms across America, CEOs are having conversations about artificial intelligence, but they are not talking about how AI will help their employees. They are talking about how AI will replace their employees. They are running the numbers. They are calculating the savings. They are planning the layoffs. I know this because I am in those rooms. I talk to these CEOs every single day. I manage their pension funds. I advise their boards. I see their internal projections, and what I see terrifies me. One Fortune 500 CEO told me last month that he expects to cut his white-collar workforce by 40% within 3 years. 40%, not through attrition, not through early retirement, through elimination, jobs that simply will not exist anymore. Another CEO, a woman who runs one of the largest financial institutions in the world, told me she has already frozen hiring for any position that involves data analysis, report writing, or customer communication. She said, and I quote, "Why would I pay a human $200,000 a year to do something AI can do better for $2,000? This is not speculation. This is not futurism. This is happening right now." Microsoft did a study last year ranking occupations by their vulnerability to AI. You want to know what was at the top of the list? It was not truck drivers. It was not warehouse workers. It was not the jobs everyone has been worrying about. The most vulnerable jobs were almost entirely white-collar translators, journalists, data scientists, financial advisors, lawyers, accountants, the people who went to college, the people who got advanced degrees, the people who thought they were safe. Jobs requiring physical labor or direct human interaction, like nursing assistants or massage therapists, were at the bottom of the list. The safest jobs in the AI economy are the ones that require you to physically touch another human being or physically move objects in the real world. Everything else is at risk. Let me tell you a story that will show you how fast this is moving. 5 years ago, if you wanted to write a legal brief, you needed a lawyer, a human being who went to law school for 3 years, passed the bar exam, and spent years learning the craft. That lawyer would charge you $500 an hour. A complex brief might take 40 hours. That is $20,000. Today, AI can write that same brief in 10 minutes for essentially nothing. And here's the terrifying part. In many cases, the AI brief is better, fewer errors, more comprehensive research, better citations. Law firms are not talking about this publicly. They are still charging clients the same rates, but behind closed doors, they are laying off associates. They are not hiring new graduates. They are using AI to do the work and pocketing the difference. The same thing is happening in accounting, in financial analysis, in journalism, in marketing, in consulting, in every white-collar profession you can name. I have a friend who runs a major consulting firm. Last year, his firm employed 3,000 analysts, young people mostly, fresh out of top business schools, making good salaries, building careers. This year, he told me he needs maybe 500. AI does the rest. The analysis that used to take a team of 10 people 2 weeks now takes one person with AI access 2 hours, and the quality is better. What happens to those 2,500 people? Where do they go? What do they do? Nobody has a good answer. This is what keeps me up at night, because I have seen this movie before. I saw it with Globalization, and the ending was not good. When factories started closing in the 1980s and 1990s, economists told us not to worry. They said the workers would retrain. They said new industries would emerge. They said the economy would adapt. It did not happen. The workers did not retrain. They could not. A 50-year-old steel worker cannot become a software engineer. The new industries did emerge, but they emerged in different places, in cities like San Francisco and New York and Boston, not in Youngstown or Flint or Gary. The economy did adapt, but it adapted by leaving millions of people behind. I watched it happen. I profited from it. We all did. The stock market boomed while the heartland crumbled. Shareholder value soared while communities died. Corporate profits reached record highs while life expectancy for working class Americans actually started to decline. For the first time in modern history, a generation of Americans started dying younger than their parents. Not because of war, not because of plague, because of despair, suicides, overdoses, alcohol, the diseases of hopelessness. And now we are about to do the same thing to the middle class. The numbers are staggering. According to Federal Reserve data, the wealthiest 1% of Americans now hold 31% of all household wealth. The bottom 50%, half the country, owns just 2.5%. That gap has been widening every single year since 1989. Since the fall of the Berlin Wall, more wealth has been created than at any time in human history, but that wealth has accrued to a far narrower share of people than any healthy society can sustain. I said those exact words at Davos. I looked at a room full of billionaires and told them that the system they built, the system I helped build, has failed to deliver for the average human being. That was not an easy thing to say. I am one of the winners of this system. I became wealthy beyond anything I could have imagined when I started my career. I run the most powerful financial institution in the world. I have influence that most people cannot comprehend. But I also have grandchildren, and I think about what world they are going to inherit, and I am worried. Because artificial intelligence is not going to be like globalization. It is going to be worse, much worse. Globalization moved jobs from one place to another, from America to China, from Europe to Southeast Asia. The jobs still existed. Humans still did them. They just did them in different countries for lower wages. AI does not move jobs. AI eliminates jobs. The work is not going to another country. The work is going to a machine. And machines do not buy houses. Machines do not send their kids to college. Machines do not shop at local businesses or pay taxes or vote. When a factory closes and moves to China, at least someone in China gets a job. When AI replaces a white-collar worker, nobody gets a job. The work just vanishes into algorithms and server farms. And it is happening at a speed that globalization never approached. It took decades for globalization to hollow out American manufacturing. AI is going to transform white-collar work in years, maybe months. The technology is improving so fast that predictions made 6 months ago are already obsolete. I talked to Jensen Huang last week. He runs NVIDIA, the company that makes the chips that power AI. He told me something that stopped me cold. He said we are in the middle of the largest infrastructure build-out in human history. Trillions of dollars are being invested in AI, not billions, trillions. The semiconductor industry is on pace to hit $1 trillion in annual revenue by the end of this year, a milestone nobody thought would happen until the 2030s. Venture capital investment in 2025 was one of the largest years ever, and almost all of that money went into AI companies in healthcare, AI companies in finance, AI companies in law, AI companies in every industry you can name. That money is not being invested to create jobs. It is being invested to eliminate them. Let me be very clear about something. I am not anti-AI. At BlackRock, we have been investing in AI since 2018. We built an AI lab at Stanford University. We use AI in our investment strategies. Our systematic equity team uses AI and has delivered incredible performance. AI is going to do amazing things. It is going to cure diseases. It is going to solve scientific problems. It is going to make many aspects of life better. I genuinely believe that. But I also believe that the benefits of AI are going to flow to a very small number of people unless we do something about it. The owners of the models, the owners of the data, the owners of the infrastructure, they are going to get rich beyond imagination. Everyone else is going to struggle. This is already happening. Look at the numbers from last year. 34 major AI stocks gained over 50% in value in 2025. Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, NVIDIA, the people who own those stocks made fortunes. According to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, the median increase in net worth among the 50 wealthiest Americans was nearly $10 billion in 1 year. Google founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin got over $100 billion richer, each in 12 months. That is more money than most countries generate in a year. Meanwhile, wages for average workers barely kept up with inflation. The median American household saw almost no real improvement in their standard of living. They are working just as hard, maybe harder, and falling further behind every single year. This is not sustainable. I said at Davos that capitalism has to evolve. It has to turn more people into owners of growth instead of spectators watching it happen. If ordinary people cannot participate in the wealth being created, they are going to lose trust in the entire system. And when people lose trust, bad things happen. Look at what happened in the 2010s, the populist movements, Brexit, Trump, the yellow vests in France, the rise of extremism on both the left and the right. All of that was driven by people who felt left behind by globalization, people who felt like the system was rigged against them. They were not wrong. The system was rigged. Not intentionally maybe, but effectively. The benefits of globalization went to shareholders and executives and the professional class. The costs went to factory workers and their communities. And when those people finally got angry enough to do something about it, they burned down the political establishment. Now imagine what happens when the same thing happens to the professional class. When lawyers and accountants and analysts and managers start losing their jobs by the millions. When people with college degrees and mortgages and kids in school suddenly find themselves obsolete. These are not people who will go quietly. These are people who vote. These are people who have influence. These are people who will demand answers. And right now, nobody has good answers. The standard responses do not work. You cannot tell a 45-year-old lawyer to learn to code when coding itself is being automated. You cannot tell a financial analyst to get more education when AI is better at analysis than any human will ever be. You cannot tell people to retrain for the jobs of tomorrow when nobody knows what those jobs will be. I have thought about this problem more than almost anyone. I have the resources to hire the best researchers, the best economists, the best futurists, and I still do not have a complete answer. But I have some ideas, and I am going to share them with you. First, we need to make ordinary people owners of AI, not just workers who use AI, owners who benefit from AI. Right now, if you want to profit from artificial intelligence, you need to own stock in AI companies. That means you need money to invest. That means the rich get richer and everyone else gets left behind. At BlackRock, we are working to change this. We manage retirement funds for millions of people, teachers, firefighters, nurses, factory workers, ordinary people who are saving for their future, and we are investing their money in AI infrastructure, data centers, chip companies, AI startups. We need pension funds to invest more in AI. We need retirement accounts to include AI assets. We need to make sure that the average pensioner, the average saver, is part of this growth, because if they are just watching from the sidelines, they are going to feel left out. And when people feel left out, they stop believing in the system. Second, we need to think differently about what work means. I talked to Jensen Huang about this. He made a point that stuck with me. He said you have to understand the difference between the purpose of a job and the tasks of a job. Think about a radiologist. The purpose of a radiologist is to diagnose patients, to help people understand what is wrong with them, to guide treatment decisions. That purpose is deeply human. It requires empathy. It requires judgment. It requires the ability to communicate complex information to scared people. The tasks of a radiologist include looking at thousands of images, scanning for abnormalities, comparing images to databases. Those tasks can be automated. AI can do them faster and more accurately than any human. But here's what happened when AI started doing radiology tasks. The number of radiologists did not decrease, it increased, because AI freed radiologists to spend more time on their purpose, more time with patients, more time consulting with other doctors, more time on the human elements that AI cannot replicate. The same thing happened with nurses. AI handles transcription, medical records, billing codes. Nurses now have more time for actual patient care. The tasks are automated. The purpose remains. This is the optimistic case. This is what could happen if we do this right. AI automates the tasks, but humans focus on the purpose. And because humans are more productive, demand for their services actually increases. Economists call this Jevons paradox. When something becomes more efficient, demand goes up. When radiologists become more efficient, more people get imaging done. When nurses become more efficient, hospitals can serve more patients. The efficiency creates growth, and the growth creates jobs. But this only works if we make it work. It does not happen automatically. It requires investment. It requires retraining. It requires new ways of thinking about education and careers and what it means to have a job. Third, we need to be honest about who is going to lose. Not everyone is going to come out of this okay. Some jobs are going to disappear entirely. Some skills are going to become worthless. Some careers are going to end. I think about young people who are in law school right now. They are paying $200,000 or more for a degree that might be worth very little by the time they graduate. They are training for a profession that is being transformed faster than the schools can adapt. Nobody is telling them this. The law schools are still collecting tuition. The professors are still teaching the old curriculum. The career services offices are still pointing to starting salaries from 5 years ago. It is not fair, and someone needs to start telling the truth. If you are in college right now, think very carefully about what you are studying. If your career plan involves sitting at a desk and processing information, you need a backup plan. If your job can be described as reading documents, writing reports, analyzing data, or communicating routine information, you are at risk. The safe careers are the ones that require physical presence, hands-on work, direct human interaction, emotional intelligence, creative judgment. The jobs that require you to be in a room with another person or to physically manipulate objects in the real world. Plumbers are going to do fine. Electricians are going to do fine. Nurses, physical therapists, skilled tradespeople. They are going to be in demand, but lawyers who review documents, financial analysts who build spreadsheets, marketing managers who write copy, they need to evolve or they will become obsolete. Fourth, we need to rebuild trust. I said something at Davos that got a lot of attention. I said the World Economic Forum itself feels out of step with the moment. Elites in an age of populism, an established institution in an era of deep institutional distrust. I was criticizing myself. I was criticizing the room I was standing in. I was saying that we, the global elite, have lost the trust of ordinary people, and we deserve to have lost it. We promised that globalization would help everyone. It did not. We promised that technology would create good jobs. It created a few great jobs and a lot of terrible ones. We promised that growth would be shared. It was not. Now we are promising that AI will be different. Why should anyone believe us? They should not believe us based on our words. They should only believe us based on our actions, and our actions need to change. That means sharing the gains more broadly. That means investing in communities, not just in shareholders. That means paying workers fairly, not just the minimum the market will bear. That means being honest about the disruption that is coming, not pretending everything will be fine. At BlackRock, we are trying to do this. We are investing in infrastructure. We are building data centers that create construction jobs. We are funding companies that are creating new industries. We are pushing the companies we invest in to think about their workers, not just their stock price. But one company cannot solve this. One industry cannot solve this. This requires everyone, businesses, governments, educators, workers themselves. I do not have all the answers. Nobody does. But I know that doing nothing is not an option. The changes are coming whether we prepare for them or not. The only question is whether we are going to manage this transition or let it manage us. I have been in finance for over 40 years. I have seen a lot of change. I have seen technologies come and go. I have seen industries rise and fall. I have seen confident predictions proven wrong and crazy ideas become reality. But I have never seen anything that moves as fast as artificial intelligence. I have never seen anything with this much potential to transform everything, and I have never been more uncertain about what the future holds. What I do know is this: the people who will thrive are the people who adapt, the people who learn new skills, the people who stay flexible, the people who think of themselves as owners, not employees, the people who invest in themselves and invest in the future. The people who will struggle are the people who think their current job is safe, the people who think their degree protects them, the people who think this is someone else's problem, the people who wait for the government or their employer or anyone else to save them. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. I know that sounds harsh, but I would rather tell you the harsh truth than a comfortable lie. The comfortable lie is that everything will be fine, that AI will create more jobs than it destroys, that the transition will be smooth, that you do not need to worry. The truth is that everything will not be fine for everyone. AI will create some jobs and destroy others, and there is no guarantee the math will work out in your favor. The transition will be brutal for many people, and you absolutely need to worry. But worry without action is useless. Worry with action is preparation. So here's my advice. Here is what I would tell my own children and grandchildren. Stay curious. Keep learning. Never think you know enough. The moment you stop learning is the moment you start becoming obsolete. Build relationships, invest in people. The things that AI cannot do are the things that require genuine human connection, trust, empathy, understanding. These are your competitive advantages. Own assets. Do not just trade your time for money. Find ways to own a piece of the growth. Invest in stocks. Invest in real estate. Invest in yourself. The gap between owners and workers is going to get wider, so make sure you are on the right side of that gap. Think globally. The opportunities of the future are not going to be confined to one country or one industry. Be willing to go where the growth is. Be willing to do things that have never been done before. And above all, do not wait. Do not assume you have time. The changes are happening now. The decisions that will shape your future are being made in boardrooms right now. If you are not preparing, you are falling behind. I have been one of the most fortunate people of my generation. I built a company from nothing to the largest asset manager in the world. I have wealth and influence that I never could have imagined when I was young. And I am telling you, with all of that experience and all of that success, that the world is about to change more in the next 10 years than it changed in the last 50. You can be ready for that change, or you can be a victim of it. The choice is yours, but you have to make that choice now, because by the time the change is obvious to everyone, it will be too late for most people to adapt. I hope you choose wisely. I hope you take action. I hope you prove that human beings can adapt and thrive in a world of artificial intelligence, because if we cannot, then everything I have spent my life building will have been for nothing. The future is not written yet. You get to help write it, but only if you start now.